Welcome. In this session, we will talk about the rise of radical nationalism, or what we call as assertives. Now, in the previous section, we have seen that there was the first phase of Indian national movement from 1885 till 1905, and this was the phase where moderates were working, and they actually laid their demands before the government and plead them to accept the demands. They actually worked with the concept of praying, please and plead. But this concept was not accepted by another segment, and these were called as the radical nationalists or the assertives. So during this time, we have seen that the radical nationalists or the assertives brought in certain ways through which they raised their political agitation. Now, it's important to note that they never believed in a bloody revolution. They always wanted drastic changes, and the concept of Purna Swaraj or complete independence was laid. However, people were at that time coming or joining with the radical nationalists. Now, what was the major difference between the philosophy of moderates and radical nationalists, or they were also called as revolutionary or extremists, but for your purpose you would mention them as radical nationalists or assertives, right? So the main difference was, under the moderates, they were the educated professional class of people, and they were only catering to the educated people through the press, through the newspapers, through the writings. However, the radical nationalists were able to join with the masses and bring mass or the common man on the forefront. So what happened under radical nationalists were, the cobblers said that they would not mend the shoes of Englishmen. Similarly, washermen said that they would not wash the garments of the Englishmen, and therefore it created a huge discontent or resentment among the Britishers, and radical nationalists believed that this was necessary because we cannot survive on beggary of the moderates. We need to achieve Swaraj by constant struggle, and that's what we would take forward. Now, during this period, there were series of episodes that led to further establishment of the fact that there was an urgent need for the radical movement to arise. One of them was partition of Bengal, of course, by Lord Curzon in 1905. The another important thing that happened during this time was the Surat split in 1907, where the Congress actually split into two. It was one following the moderates path, the other following the radical path. And Annie Besant said about this session of Indian National Congress as one of the saddest movement in the history of Indian National Congress. Now, besides this, before the partition, there were series of things that actually created a wave of resentment among the common people. Some of those important ones to note were the famine, which took place in 1896 to 1897. Then this was the time where famine relief code was brought. So this famine was a severe one. Then there was a plague. Now this plague, actually there were two important names that we would cite here: Damodar Chapekar and Balkrishna Chapekar. Both of them killed the plague commissioner at that time, and the plague commissioner was Mr. Rand. Now when Mr. Rand was killed, there were numerous rumors about it, and it was believed that Bal Gangadhar Tilak was also associated to this whole episode, and he was arrested for the explosive articles he wrote in the Kesari newspaper during that time. And considering this as one of the facts, he was sentenced to 18 months of jail. Now, the radical philosophy actually believed that these commissioners were not working properly, and that was one of the reasons that plague had affected the cities. So many of the factors, including famine, the distress during the famine, and still asking for the taxes from the farmers during the famine. The plague episode and the unrest that was created in the cities was again one of the factors that created severe discontent among the common people. So what was the idea behind the philosophy of radical nationalists? So radical nationalists said that freedom is our birthright and every individual should actually be bestowed by the freedom. One of the major reasons that they raised this movement was they did not agreed with the Western culture and Western philosophy as the moderates did. They believed that Indian culture, Indian philosophy should be maintained and the vernacular education should be maintained. English education, if brought, should be within the limits, and it was important to accept the vernacular education, and if Englishmen are allowed into the system, it would be one of the major causes of downfall of the Indian culture. So those were some of the key ideas that they actually brought in. Again, the idea of Swadeshi and boycott movement was again important. Swadeshi and boycott went hand in hand because through the Swadeshi, they were telling that we need to have our own clothes, own product, our indigenous things that we must use. And through the boycott, they were saying that we won't be using the foreign goods. So even the common people were picketing the foreign shops, they were burning the foreign goods. And this was a demonstration to say that we won't be in line with the use of foreign goods. So Swadeshi came along with the boycott of foreign goods. So both of these things came together, focusing on national education as we mentioned. So encouraging the Indian system of education, and the three trio, Lal, Bal and Pal, were important under the radical movement. So Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal. Now interesting to note, all these three scholars belong to the different nook and corner of India. So Bipin Chandra Pal from the present day Bangladesh, that time it was part of the Assam province, the Sylhet was part of the Assam. Then Bal Gangadhar Tilak from Maharashtra, Lala Lajpat Rai from Punjab. So throughout India, this wave